Another reason why I think Trump administration is going down fast is because I think between the Project 2025 folks that are part of his agenda, they're implemented pretty quickly, and the Curtis Yarvin tech bros that are puppeteering, that's the Peter Thiel, J.D. Vance, Vivek Ramaswamy, Elon Musk wing of the puppeteers of the Trump administration. I think both of them wanted to tear down government because they both have an experiment. They're operating on a theory that they can destroy government. They both think they know what's best for the United States government, and they can implement their plan, despite the fact that during Donald Trump's campaign, Project 2025, the statistics, the data, the polling showed that it was unpopular, not just amongst the Democrats and liberals or people who knew about it, but amongst the Republicans. And I also personally know, and a lot of the Democrats know that it's unpopular because a lot of the time when we mentioned that Donald Trump was going to implement it, a lot of the MAGA folks was like, no, it's not. It has nothing to do with it. Why would they be so adamant about trying to distance themselves and saying Donald Trump is not going to implement Project 2025 if they thought it was a good thing? Right. So they knew that it was unpopular. So when he comes into office and in 10 months he implements something that polled that was unpopular, no wonder he's underwater with all the swing states that he came in on. The 40% of Latinos who voted for him, they're leaving. The Gen Z boys who voted for him because they said this is the free speech, no war person. The techno bros, the crypto bros, he just lost them $2 trillion while he did some insider trading, so his son walked away with $80 million. He's undermining the MAGA moms because he closed out the Department of Education, special education department, all the MAGA moms whose kids in special education. Like, what the hell? What do you mean? So he eroded his base super fast because the Project 2025 implementation, cutting projects, and while people are working, trying to fire them. Fortunately for us, there was a court case recently, I'll put it here, where the judge, Susan Ilston, stopped Russell Vought from firing people. Say, how are you going to fire people? They're on furlough. The jobs to implement the impact on their lives. What? And also, who's going to implement the RIF? The government's closed, dumbass. So, yeah, thank God for the judges and the courts that they pulled that back. And Donald Trump essentially embraced the unpopular 2025 after running away from it when he did this tweet on the White House website calling Russell Vought the Grim Reaper. And right after he sent that video, that's when Russell Vought went and fired all those workers, including the Department of Education, special education department at the Department of Education, like cutting it. And he's been cutting ever since. The man actually purged himself. So he's going down for minimum perjury because I filmed when his Senate confirmation hearing, which I watched, when several senators asked him, will he not impound funds? Would he give funds that's allocated from Congress appropriately and send them off? And no, he's been seizing them, holding them back this entire time. He did it the first time. Senator Alex Padilla asked him during the confirmation hearing, and so did Senator Tim Kaine, that says, you last time impounded funds, so why should we implement it? Of course they voted against him, but again, all that we experiencing is the responsibilities on Republicans in Senate and Congress. And when they grow some balls and realize, wait a minute, his grand scheme, this experiment of Project 2025 and the Curtis Yarvin thing is not working out, and get some balls and hire some security to protect you from the crazy MAGAs that represent just 22% of the population. You are destroying the country, democracy, because of 22% of the population who are fans or disciples or cult followers of this one old, decrepit, 79-year-old, cognitively declined, racist, sexist, xenophobic, know-nothing, curmudgeon, child, grifting, man. Like that, that's why you guys have decided to give up your entire party, your entire career, everything for this. It's cult-like behavior. Anyway, I digress. So the Project 2025 people and the Curtis Yarvin people, because you might have seen Curtis Yarvin do a Substack saying that he's leaving the country, he miscalculated, Donald Trump is not dismantling the government fast enough, and he's just being vain, and this is not working. Bullshit. I think he too miscalculated to the extent to which government functions. I really do think that none of them really understood the importance of government, that if you dismantle government that works, it took 250 something years to build this nation. People are used to their government. They want what they want, and they not interested in some other form. We like this. They're saying, no, we're going to make it a Christo-fascist, Nashist Sharia law, Christian Sharia state. We're going to mandate this. We're going to kick all the people out of the country. We're going to do all this stuff. Stephen Miller's Jewish Nazi wants to depopulate the United States. Like your freaking ancestors ran away from being exterminated, and you come to a country. Well, you were born in a country as a member, a product of chain migration, and you want to depopulate the nation as a Jew. Make it make sense. So yeah, anyway, these crazy sociopathic, sadistic sociopaths that the man has in his cabinet who are just hanging on because before his first term, he had people who had some principle, who had some sense, who were able to put some guardrails and tell him to save him from his most natural instinctive cruelty, because he's a sociopath himself. He's a psychopath, and he takes glee in causing pain to other people and embarrassing other people because he's the worst of the humans, being kind. Anyway, so you put all these crazy psychopaths who don't really understand the people are going to fight for government. That's why the No Kings rally is big. That's why they're scared. You didn't see these type of protests on the Biden administration or the Obama administration. You saw peace. You saw prosperity. Barack Obama took a recession that was handed to him by George W. Bush, and by the time he was on his way out, we had month-over-month job growth. S&P was up, home prices was up, everything was going great. Same thing with Biden administration. It was successive 4 years of job growth. Now, for the first time, we had a decline. Unemployment was under the Trump administration. He had an opportunity to do what he did with Barack Obama and just coast in on a rising economy and chill, but no, he had to do his stupid trade practices and tariffs and just destroy the economy. Inflation, just mess everything up, and that's why Curtis Yarvin's like he's just doing vanity projects. He's building freaking place. He's not destroying the country. Curtis Yarvin and that whole group, those guys think they're smarter than they are. Like just pampered, I don't know if he's white men just believe they're just smarter than everyone else and just proving that they're not, because you know why? That sector had no damn clue what the government works. Here's an example. I say this: when they get up in the morning and open the refrigerator and have their eggs and they drink their oat milk, and they head out to their new home in Malibu, when they drink that milk and they'll eat those eggs and they take their vitamins, that's the Food and Drug Administration making sure all of that is safe. That's the government. When they drive their car heading to the construction site to see their new Malibu home, they don't breathe the noxious fumes because we have emission standards. That's the environmental protection. The clean air they enjoy, that's the government. When they get to the construction site and they put on the hard hat and they don't fall through the planks, that's because the Office of Safety and Health Workplace Standards requires certain standards. That's the government. When they, existing is the government. I really do realize I don't think they understand the extent to which the government really helps their standard of living. When they talk about break it down, are you sure? Project 2025 folks did not really understand the extent to which if you take away the CDC and cut the employees because you're so mad because you feel like they're the ones who undermined Donald Trump's first term as a shadow government bullshit, and in the middle of a measles epidemic, so we kill off the population, what are you going to rule over? That's why you have to call them back. You take away the national oceanic standards. You let Elon Musk just cut and slash and burn, and then there's a hurricane, and there's no warning, and then we lose a bunch of young children at a campsite. That's the government. Like, I don't think they understood. They want to replace the government, but they have nothing to replace it with. They're like, we're going to replace it with this Christo-fascist, Christian version of Sharia law state in what's his face? Stephen Miller talking about depopularizing the country, and you're going to stuff it down your throat. You don't think people are going to fight for that? If you saw the rallies with 75 million people, I used to cover them. I used to show 75 million people showed up at Kamala Harris rallies. Why would you think those 75 million people weren't going to show up? You're saying we're the communists. Every day they have a new name for the people who are going to protest. They're saying they're the pro-Hamas, they're the fascists, they're criminals, they're terrorists. No matter what you say, that's just regular Americans. And you guys you are ruling 22%. You're ruling 20% of people are MAGAs and eroding fast. So nobody wants that shit. Nobody asked for that. It's an experiment. Both you and Curtis Yarvin don't understand government and decided you guys knows better. It's the same way that they try to remove Obamacare. They took 10, 15 years to try to remove Obamacare, had no replacement. Donald Trump talking about concepts of a plan. They want to just destroy. All they're about is destroying things, have no replacement whatsoever. They think they know. It's a grand experiment. We're not interested in your grand experiment. We just want our country back the way it was before you try to break it. No one asked for this shit, and so y'all can just take your freaking Project 25, take your old decrepit president and your psychopathic, sadistic, unqualified, sycophant cabinet members and the rest of the unqualified goons that's running the country and get the hell out of here. Nobody wants y'all. Curtis Yarvin saw he's leaving. Go with Curtis. Nobody asked for y'all. What are your thoughts? JJ Legal. Each one teach one. Share this video. Let's talk below.